Hello everybody, welcome back to another update. It has been a couple of weeks since I checked in with you last. I think the last time I did a quick recap was setting the stage for what's to come with my upcoming competition series and how I just kind of navigate week-to-week nutrition training and make adjustments on all those good things. But before we dive into all my data and just some of the struggles that I have had this last week as I've kind of been thrown back into work at full speed, I want to go over some new programs, new product services and things that have been launched since I last caught up with you guys. So first things first, the hyper-focused glute program that I have been telling you all about is now live in the app. So if you're listening to this today, it is in the app because it went live today, which is June the 8th. That was Monday. So the program has a wonderful description. It tells you exactly the, muscle group breakdown. So you can see exactly how many exercises you do each week in that program and then how many sets you're doing. And if you've been following me for long enough now, you probably have a good idea about what is considered optimal and then what's going to lead to modest gains and then what might just allow you to maintain certain muscle groups. So all of that information is in the actual program description in the app. You've got to just scroll to the bottom on the homepage. You'll see all of our new programs, and there are a few, which is super exciting, and that is included in there. But we've also got a brand new challenge coming up as well. So June 23rd will be the kickoff of our next 6-week program. So if you aren't familiar with our challenges and what we do, they're basically 6 weeks on, 4 weeks off. 6 weeks on, 4 weeks off throughout the entire year. So I think we have like 6 or 7 challenges each year. So there's plenty of opportunities to jump in and out as needed. So yeah, very excited about that. I think we just made it live on our website. Let me just quickly pop over and see. Yes, here it is. Gosh, I love the creative. Sometimes I wish I did marketing and like had a say in like graphic design. It's always so pretty. But anyhow, it's all live and available for you to check out. So if I click on this challenge page here, you can see a little bit about what's included and I guess the cost and things. And if you're already an app member, you do get a discount on this. So you don't pay full price. You've got discounts and all of that information is over here on the website. Or if you need any more help, please reach out to us at support@beafit.com. That's anything related to the app. So very excited for that one. I obviously will be participating with y'all. Lots of inclusions. I won't bore you with all the details because everything is detailed over on the landing page for our website. So that is new. I think I'm most excited about having the new program up in the app because even for me, like I like to be organized and I like to have my program. I like to be able to track all of my data. It's just so convenient to see like how you're actually progressing and if you're at least maintaining a certain consistency with your volumes and things like that. And when my program isn't in the app, it means that I'm using my Excel sheets where I like create all of this stuff. And though I've always done that for like as long as I can remember, I too prefer an app. So I've been kind of just going through and using my original sheets, like my Excel sheets, and it's just tedious to say the least. So I'm actually very happy because now when I go and train this week, I can actually pull up the app and go in and start logging it all in there. But my goodness, this past week or two has been a struggle for many reasons. So I think every time I like come out of the heat of the competition, like the peak week or the weeks leading into a show, I always end up voluntarily throwing myself back into like, okay, what can I do? What needs to be done? Let's get caught up. So for whatever I didn't do, in those few weeks where it's hyper focused, I kind of make up for on the back end. So it just feels so busy. But the good thing is there's always stuff that I love working on, like, creating new programs and I don't know, just brainstorming, marketing, writing, filming, all the good things. I think this whole weekend, I don't know that I actually really had a whole lot of downtime. I think Sunday was basically editing some content, writing, and then filming it, which is not my first preference of skills. It's certainly somewhere lower on the list. So it probably takes me twice as long to put it all together. But it was a busy weekend. I had all like the best intentions of going down and like sunbaking at our beautiful pool down here. I just look at it out my window. It's nice enough. But I was like, oh my gosh, I still need to train. I still need to get a walk in. Oh, I need to do groceries. Oh, I need a meal prep. And I've just spent half the day doing work. Sorry, that didn't quite happen. But thankfully, I can't complain. It's all good, exciting stuff. But yeah, I think trying to stay on track with nutrition. I mean, oh, you guys get it. You're doing the same thing. You're either tracking macros, maybe you're mindfully eating, but still finding it, challenging to keep tabs on like, what did I eat today? Like the day's just flown by and you have no idea what you've put in your mouth. But yeah, I've definitely noticed a struggle in just trying to keep up with like food tracking. And you guys know me, like I do the macro tracking and flexible dieting because it's the most accurate way, for competition. But it's certainly not my number one preference when I'm not. And right now, because I feel like I'm in limbo with trying to just maintain and hang on to a little bit of the leanness until I kind of dive back in again for the Tampa Pro coming up in a few weeks. It's just like mentally hard to get your head around because you're kind of half in, half out, So I think my struggles this week, and maybe you guys can relate to this, is I know I meant to track my food, and I know I've got things in my refrigerator and, some foods that will certainly allow me to meet my targets. And then the other part of me is like, well, you need to fuel your body well. You're going to be putting in the work with these new programs. They're big programs, like 90-minute programs to get all that volume in on my glutes. So I know I need a fuel, but then, making sure that I don't go too far over the other side where I ended up just putting on an unnecessary amount of body fat for the next couple of weeks, whilst I'm in this kind of in between competitions or shows phase. So it's just felt like, so a lot of guesstimating at the end of the day. You know how you sit down, I don't know, maybe you're like me, maybe you're not. I'll be sitting here and I've kind of gotten through the bulk of my work, and I will look at what I've tracked. And I'm like, I feel like what did I have for lunch today? So I'm like just trying to do by recall. It's not that I'm doing it on the spot, which is a lot more accurate. And I think because I'm, just go, 100 miles an hour, it does take quite a bit to just sit down and be like, was that yesterday's lunch or today's? Or did I make that last night for dinner, or was that tonight's dinner? I'm just having a hard time remembering. So there's been a little bit more guesswork, and over at least the last 7 days, you can see that there are lots more spots and blanks. And that's because as I went back to reflect on my week of tracking, I did not have all of the data filled out. So there might have been like half of a day tracked, and I'm like, well, it was a waste of dang time. Like I had the best intentions of putting it all at the end of the day, and I've just been like, sleep is more important right now than sitting here for another 30 minutes tracking what I ate. So a couple of empty days, couple of days where I would question maybe some of these targets, and I might have to assume that the calories are actually a little bit higher. So let's take a look at that first. So Friday was a day where I'd actually planned to go out for a dinner date with the girls, which was very fun. We went to one of our favorite restaurants in Tampa, which is Timpano's. It is like an Italian Mediterranean restaurant, which has this dish that I have been like eyeing off for my entire prep. And I'm going to put a video up for you so that you can see this. It's like a gigantic Parmesan cheese wheel. Like it is huge. It's as big as this. So they bring it out on a table. Someone's literally making your dish in this cheese wheel with like pesto, fresh basil, like all the cheese, and like making your pasta like by your table. And then it like serves multiple people. So I've been waiting for that because my carbohydrate target has not been high enough for me to like voluntarily elect to have carbs, instead of something else that's a little bit more filling and voluminous, like a giant salad or some stir fry veggies or whatever. So yeah, I was so excited to have that. It was delicious. And I also had a few cocktails that night as well, which was really nice. So I just didn't worry about tracking on that day. I think I'd had a couple of protein serves in the morning, some lean protein at breakfast, lean protein at lunch. I think I had a salad or something as well. And then, that kind of left me a little bit more flexibility at dinner time. So I just said that day, I'm not even going to worry about it. I haven't had this, this kind of delicious food in a hot minute. So I'm just going to enjoy it and be present in the company. Now, I'm pretty sure I didn't get home until 2 a.m. Like this is 3 girls who have not caught up forever. We went to dinner at like 6:30, and I think I was sitting there like ready to go home finally, and we were like, yeah, we should go. We were like the last people in 2 different restaurants. So like, yeah, one was a lounge bar, the other was the restaurant for dinner. I was like, yeah, it's probably time to go. So I have not stayed out that late in a long time, and oh my God, the suffering the next morning. I'm so glad that I do not go out very often because I would be exhausted. So I think I slept in on Saturday morning, which I never do. I think I was in bed until like 10, just kind of sending emails, kind of checking over some stuff on my phone. I'm like, oh my gosh, and you've now got to get up and train and get your steps in, and you've got work to do, and you want to like enjoy your day. Yeah, I haven't had a hangover in a hot minute, and definitely the 3 drinks that I had, poof. Yep. I had an Advil in the morning and lots of fluid. So hopefully won't be doing that quite that late anymore. I think I said to the girls that I was with, if we're going to go and enjoy like a day, get caught up, let's start earlier in the day so that Granny Holly can still go to bed and get up and enjoy her next day. I think we're all in agreement with that. So that was fun. And then there was a day earlier in the week, Tuesday, which is a big check-in coaching day for me. And I had a bunch of other things to get ready for all of our challenges and programs. So I just didn't have time to track on those days. So I did my best. But one of the things that I guess is standout here, and you can probably see my sodium intake, I was quite a bit higher on Saturday and Sunday. And that is because I, again, chose to have just some of the foods that I have had to put a cap on during my prep, which was sushi. And oh my God, I love Japanese food. I love sushi. All of that stuff is like just so yummy to me. It's not necessarily very low in calories, but I enjoyed it this weekend, and we had leftovers. We ordered so much. Oh my gosh, this place was amazing. I've got to tell you what it is. I've got the boxes right here. Sushark, Sushark. So I ordered this on Uber Eats. I had no prior knowledge of what this place was. And that came in like these cute little boxes. And I'm like, oh, this is upscale for what I normally order. It was the best sushi that I have ever had, and it was takeout. So I can't imagine what it would be like if you actually went in and ate at this restaurant here in Tampa. Again, I will show you some pictures of these dishes, but they have their own little box with like a fortune cookie, and it's like one giant roll, but it's pre-sliced for you. And the flavors and just the food combos were incredible, but we had so much left over that I had it again the next day. So you can see my sodium intake was exceptionally high, and I was a little nervous when I got on the scale this morning. And again, even I have to talk myself off that ledge as well. You know, I think there's this emotional part of you that's like, I know where I've got to be, and I just, you know, I know that's not true, but like there's that visceral part, you know, that emotional response that you have. So today, after 2 days back-to-back eating like more than 50% more sodium than I normally do, I weighed in at 132. And remember, I'm trying to stay at 129 for to make it easier on myself when I like start my cut again in a couple of weeks as I prep for the Tampa Pro. So I'm up at what I'd consider like close to my maintenance right now, or probably my maintenance calories. To see what I can do in terms of growth. The reality is I don't know how much I will grow. We've got measurements on the way. I have taken all my sites and I will be eager to see what happens in that short period of time. But the reality is I don't know, and science can't really tell us that either. There are no studies, to my knowledge, that look at, number one, I guess bodybuilders or physique competitors, at least not a randomized controlled trial with a study that's powered well. It just doesn't exist. And especially not that at this kind of body fat percentage with the volumes that I'm doing. I can look to some high volume literature, but they're done in normal healthy weight individuals. Some of them are male, some of them are females. And there's no real gauge on like their energy balance. It's just, you know, the indication or the instructions that are provided to participants in some of these studies are don't change anything, but have, you know, eat a similar amount of protein, but don't really change your diet. So they're probably just at a maintenance calories, you know, in many of these studies, not, you know, extremely lean physiques and doing and eating in a caloric deficit. So yeah, there's limited information available to us. But anyways, let's pop over and have a look at my weight data for the week in general. You can see a lot more spots since I'm no longer, you know, in the days prior to my show. So I have just been a little bit more lax about it. And I think that's kind of what I have to do in order to maintain some sense of balance and still get my work and stuff done and do the things that I also care about. So got a couple of weigh-ins this week. My biggest priority right now is just making good intentions and choices, having good intentions and making good choices with my diet, and also just being committed and showing up consistently to my resistance training and to my cardio and to my steps. So I know if I'm doing the behaviors, I can feel comfortable knowing that if I miss a few days of scale weigh-ins, nothing crazy is going to happen. Or if it does, in the instance of the weekend, there's usually a reason for it. I knew I'd had sushi and eaten out a couple of times, so the salt content too is going to be significantly higher. So my data this week probably isn't really a true reflection of my actual weight. I suspect that my weigh-in is probably, or weigh-ins have been on average a little bit higher this past week. I didn't weigh in every day, and there's a couple of days where I think my calories were higher. So even though it says here that my weight is basically 0.1 of a pound less than last week, and again, that's me just coming right out of my show where I'd had crazy calories on my show day. So this 132 was probably not all that different to the 132 I had today in terms of carbs and sodium. So I'm optimistic that, once I get back onto my normal foods this week, things will move back in the right direction. But I do think that this is a little bit lower than my true weight, just because of the days that I specifically chose or was able to weigh in. I guess just the infrequency probably doesn't give us a really good accurate average. So anyways, that's my weight. I'm currently at where I need to be, which is good. I don't want to go too far past that. And hopefully this week, as I get more weigh-in data, I'll see that number kind of trend back down. So compliance, let's have a look at that. 102% compliant to the new calorie target. So if we go back over to my adjustments, you'll recall that last week I had given myself a little bit of a boost because I felt like I needed it. Number one, just from an energy perspective, if I want to get through these big workouts and train hard, I'm going to need more calories. So I took them up a little bit. So to 1650 from 1565. So I just took my carbs up by 10 and I took my fats up by 5. So that was my adjustment last week. So my new calorie target goal this past week was 1650, and I, based on the days that I did track loosely, I came in compliant. So like I said, I think those numbers are probably a little bit higher, but not by too far, I don't think. Sodium was obviously the biggest difference from previous weeks, much higher because of the specific food choices. And then looking at my protein compliance, again, it is a little on the lower side. And I chalk that up to just last week not necessarily being prepared and organized because of the work schedule. I mean, I have just had so many things going on. Personally, I had a pretty significant event on Tuesday as well that just prevented me from doing anything else. I was basically sitting in a room with lawyers for many hours. So that was just a challenging day in general. But yeah, my protein definitely suffered last week. So this week, again, I've already done some prep last night, got a few dishes that are high in protein, ordered some groceries, and I suspect that I'll be able to get those numbers back up again. But they're not ideal, but they're also not so far that they're outside of my recommended protein reference range. I would just prefer them to be a little bit higher, knowing what my goal is. But I'm human at the end of the day. I certainly wish that I could do better, but I don't foresee a whole lot of opportunity to make major improvements based on the other important and essential obligations that I had going on last week. So rather than beat myself up, I'll just think about how I can do better this week. Coming across to look at my training, you can see here got my 4 sessions done, so that's good. 2 of them were back to back over the weekend, and I can say that this session here on Saturday was just challenging. I don't think I went and trained until 5 in the afternoon. That's how long it mentally took me to build up to going and doing that session. I was so tired. So got a bit of work done, did some housework, cleaning, all that kind of good stuff on Saturday, which is typically my routine. I usually get some cleaning done in the mornings and then I head off to the gym. So everything just got put back many hours yesterday or on Saturday. But my calorie expenditure came in around 2100. Again, I use my Apple Watch for that. Again, just for anybody that might be new to the channel, I'm not looking at those numbers and the absolute values as being gospel. They're not accurate. What I am looking at is those relative changes from week to week to make sure that the training program that I am doing, I am still putting in the same amount of effort or a similar amount of effort, and that my overall energy expenditure is coming in at least similar. So what I do notice sometimes is that as I get more fatigued or I don't sleep very well, or if I'm coming up to the final weeks of my prep and my energy just is horrible, then I do see a little bit of a downturn in those numbers. So it might just mean that I have to put in more effort somewhere else that week to get my energy expenditure back up so that I'm staying in the deficit that I intend to be in. So that wasn't so bad, doing and following along on my new hyper-focused glute program. So, oh my God, there's 53 sets of glutes in this program. Now that's split between 2 separate muscle groups. So it's not 53 sets in one muscle group. If so, that would be equal to the highest we've ever seen in any study done ever, which is the NS 52 set study. It's split over a medius and max. And I think it still favors the medius a little bit. So I'm really trying to grow that upper shelf. And I'm trying to just maintain the glute volume that I have in my maximus at the moment. So that was fun. I got 2 runs in, which was my goal. I wanted to make sure that I can maintain a little bit of fitness. I just feel good when I can run and my fitness is there. There is nothing worse to me than when I've got to like strike up a run to cross the road or do anything, just general walking upstairs. If I don't feel fit, I get really angry. So I've just been very happy to be able to get outdoors and get some of these runs in. But I think this day here on Wednesday, my 24-minute run, 304 calories, I had to do this on the treadmill here in the apartment complex. Now, I have to say, it's a beautiful big open window and I have a nice view, but it was cloudy and raining and just, blah. I hate running on the treadmill. I don't know whether you are the same. It's just horrible. So I think I can bear it when I'm outdoors and there's a change of scenery or you're listening to something good. It's very easy to do, but I think it's so much harder when you've got to get it done indoors. But we got it done. Don't ask me what I did on the 20 minutes. I'm sure I was just waiting for the minutes to pass. But that clocked in at just under 600 calories, which is pretty typical for those runs for me. I have noticed that my minute mile pace has improved a little bit since starting like my prep. So I think when I first jumped back into running and I hadn't done it for several months, my mile time was probably just shy of 9 minutes. Now, like when I'm in a good mood and I've slept well, my minute mile pace is now improved and it's clocking in at like 7 minutes 47 to 7 minutes 57, which I think is not bad for someone that doesn't normally run very often, or at least very far. So I've been very happy with that. And then I got a few walks in here. You can see I didn't get a walk in every day, which is usually what I need to do in order to get to my step goal. You can see on the days where I don't plan walks and I'm just lifting, my activity is very, very low. And this day here in particular, the 5,444 steps on Sunday is because as soon as I got up in the morning, I was writing content, filming in here, and I think I might have got done at like 3 o'clock, and then it was like, okay, let's go to the gym, and then that was the only steps that I really got, and then I was meal prepping, just standing in my kitchen. So very, very inactive outside of the planned movement. So all said and done, I achieved my weekly goal of getting to 10,000. I know it came in at 9,600. This is basically 100% compliant to my step goal, which is what I wanted to do in this kind of maintenance period. I've brought it down by a couple thousand, as I'm not necessarily trying to be in that energy deficit as I was a few weeks ago. And then my energy expenditure actually came in a little bit higher than the last 2 weeks overall. So 4,000 was what those sessions came in. And again, that is purely because these new hyper-focused glute programs, it's taken me from normally doing 7 to 8 exercises in the gym up to 10 for all 4 sessions. And that's, again, very intentional. So I'm almost not surprised to see a little bit more overall energy expenditure from those sessions. So as far as what I do for next week, my goals are going to be the same. Hopefully I do a better job though this week at prioritizing my protein at the number that I want to hit. I know I've got some fun plans planned for this weekend, which I'll share with you in a moment. And I don't think that it'll be overly difficult for me to do that just because of the situation that I will be in. So we'll come to that. And I don't need to change anything with my training either. Obviously, my goal for these resistance training sessions, I probably actually need to change this, is 2,200. And that means that my activity needs to come up by 200 as well. So my goal is 3,800 calories across the board, 2,200 of which will come from my resistance training sessions, 10,000 steps, and then I'll get my couple of 25-minute runs in. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing right now. And if you want to get on these programs as well, then you should definitely consider hopping on the Be a Fit app. It has so much flexibility, so many options. It's got all of my recipes included. It has like every single recipe that I've ever had in my books, all included in there with the instructions, the macros, everything like that. And then there's also the community page too, where you can chat amongst some of the other users. And then we've got all of our analytics as well. So plans. I've got a few exciting things to share with you. So first off, this weekend on Friday, we have rescheduled Miss Ray, you know, my little dog, rescheduled her teeth cleaning appointment. So she has to go under for that. So we rescheduled that. That was originally going to be on Friday. She's now going in on Wednesday to have her teeth cleaned. Oh my God, her breath. So bad. I will miss it. It's easy to find out where Ray is because she yawns and I'm like, oh, there's Ray. But anyhow, I'm going to be driving down to Fort Lauderdale to catch up with Lauralie. So she's currently the Miss Olympia. She has just started her prep, which is surely very exciting and challenging, obviously. So we are going to get her glute measurements as well. I figure having Miss Olympia's glute measurements, glute medius and max, and any other muscle group that she is interested in measuring would be very handy because we don't have this data in like the literature. It just doesn't exist. I think we've got a few of the open men's bodybuilders, some of the current and former Mr. Olympias. We have data here from USF. But it's just not something that, you know, science has really done a good job of capturing, like the unicorns of the industry. So we're only 4 hours drive away. So I've trained with Lauralie before. If you guys want to go and check out that video, it's on my YouTube channel. But yeah, we'll catch her before she gets all of her training done so that she doesn't have any inflammation. And then we are going to hit a workout. I think we're doing a glutes workout on Friday. Which we will film. In fact, I will try and vlog to the best of my ability, which it's limited, but we will try that whole weekend. So if we go and do anything, I'll try and get some video footage and just keep you guys up to date. So that's going to be really fun. And then, yeah, I don't know whether we'll probably catch up with a few other folks down in Fort Lauderdale as well. I don't know if you guys know Bang Energy, or at least former Bang Energy owners. So I think we'll try and catch up with the OAX and I guess church, my other business partner. There's lots of things going on in Fort Lauderdale, so it'll be a busy weekend, which is why I think I'll probably have a much better time at being able to track macros, because so much of the stuff is going to be like in the car driving first and foremost, and all of the choices that we'll make around food, especially if I'm catching up with Lauralie, will be like in very controlled kinds of environments, and she will be doing that as well. There'll be less of a reason for me to feel like I'm kind of stepping out of the conversation or not being engaged if somebody else is doing the same thing as well. So I just think it'll be a little bit easier for me to track when, you know, there's also somebody else that's in the same boat that's doing the same kind of thing. I think when I'm with friends or folks that aren't like competitors, I want to be engaged. I want to stay present and enjoy that. And it's a little bit of a struggle to balance, which you guys probably know. So that's that. And then I also have some exciting news. I am no longer, I guess, contractually under a non-compete, which means that I can build my own nutrition coaching app. So we have had, this has been going on in the background for the last couple of years. I have not been able to produce another nutrition coaching app like my former product. So that, I guess, has been lifted, and it means that I am going to have my head down, I guess, putting something amazing together for you guys. So we've obviously got Be a Fit. This will morph at some point into like my own nutrition app. So that is possibly the most exciting news that has happened in the last couple of weeks. So yeah, I guess if you guys have got like feedback or suggestions or just stuff that you think would be really helpful for you to achieve your goals, please share that with me. If you want to drop it in the comments of this video, you can do that. You can reach out to me via Instagram, you can email me, however you want. Honestly, like I love creating stuff and trying to be at the forefront of technology to make it as simple and easy for you guys as possible. And your ideas matter. Like, you're the reason that I want to make these products. So yeah, please don't be shy in sharing suggestions and, you know, maybe feedback from other products that you've used, maybe even my old app, and how we can make that even better. So yeah, that's pretty much the crux of it. I don't want to bore you with too many more details, but I am excited for this week. I have lots of things going on. Make sure that you check out the educational content that's going up on YouTube. Every week we do 2 videos. So last week's content was on swelling and how that actually influences not only your physical appearance and look in the mirror, but what it does on the weight on the scale, and then also how it might influence, I guess, science. So when it comes to looking at research, the short-term changes that we might see in like fat-free mass or lean body mass or muscle thickness or cross-sectional area, how much of that is actually muscle growth and how much of that is actually just edema or acute swelling from the resistance training itself. So there's a really interesting video on that topic if you're somebody that's interested in learning a little bit more about like how much your body actually changes on the scale in response to water and changes in those total body water levels that really have nothing to do with changes in fat mass, which I know is very frustrating for a lot of folks. And then what was the other paper on? So we reviewed a paper that looked at the potential for improved capillarization in older people and how that might actually help improve people's hypertrophy outcomes in response to like a resistance training block or mesocycle. So previous research had indicated that there might be some potential issues with low capillarization in older adults, and that maybe that's why we have these non-responders, so individuals, older adults that just simply do not respond to resistance training efforts. So the hypothesis was that if we help with these non-responders and improving their capillarization through an 8-week cardiovascular, program to help improve capillarization, and which it did in this study, how does it actually help with hypertrophy outcomes? So if you've got somebody that's a little older in your life, maybe a family member, maybe that is you. I know if my mum was listening to this, she'd be in that category. That particular video would be super helpful for you to go and check out. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, go and subscribe so that you don't miss any of those fun and unique, interesting papers, and you're not going to get those kinds of follow-up, reviews on articles anywhere else, at least that I'm not familiar with. So they're pretty detailed breakdowns of studies, and hopefully it just helps you with your own understanding and knowledge around your training outcomes. So I won't keep you talking. Make sure that you go and check out the new challenge, the one that kicks off on the 23rd of June. It is the Love Yourself Fit Summer Edition. June 23rd, Monday, June 23rd is when that gets started. All the details are listed there on the website. If you're already a subscriber to Be A Fit, remember you can get a discount on all of those, programs. If you want more details, go to the website or email us at support@beafit.com. And if you're in the app and you want to try the new hypertrophy program or any of the new programs that we've just launched, make sure that you go and head over to the new program section at the bottom on the homepage and get yourself some glutes, because that's what these programs are going to do. Alrighty guys, have an awesome week, and I will see you in hopefully a video very soon.